and welcome to West Scranton Intermediate School. My name is Mrs. Danielle Boyce, and I am the principal here. And with me is Mrs. Shannon Rucker, and she is our assistant principal. In this virtual orientation, we will introduce you to all of our amazing teachers here at West Intermediate, and we will show you the various locations in our school where they can be found when we return.
We will also share a schedule in which you will follow while learning virtually, as well as set expectations that you will be expected to meet. We will begin by taking a tour of the building.
Welcome to West Scranton Intermediate School.
In the lobby of our building is our main office and our medical room. We have 5 clerks at West Intermediate who are ready to help you with anything. Kim Chuff is the secretary to the principal. Renee Perry handles attendance and scheduling issues. Chrissy Kaiser manages the front door. And Mike Costello is the book clerk. Our medical room staff consists of Mrs. Eileen Leonard and Mrs. Lynn Osborne. Our building is divided into 4 main sections: Lambda House, Theta House, Phi House, and the balcony. As you walk up the steps, the first house to the right is Lambda. There is a 6th grade team and a 7th grade team in Lambda. Sixth grade Lambda teachers include Mr. D'Antona, Math and Social Studies, Mr. Reagan, Science, Mrs. Jones, Reading, Mrs. Holmes, English, and Mrs. Michaels, Social Studies. Seventh grade Lambda teachers include Mrs. Cummings, Math, Mrs. Holmes, Science, Miss Bryan, Reading, Mr. Yakavazi, English, and Mr. Duwahi, Social Studies. Miss Joanne Conway is the secretary to the assistant principal, and we would also be remiss if we did not introduce Miss Amy Red, our school resource officer. We are very lucky to have her here at West Scranton Intermediate. Theta House is home to a 7th grade team and an 8th grade team. 7th grade teachers are Mrs. Colley, Math, Miss Davitt, Math, Mrs. Stanton, Science, Mrs. Moran, Reading, Mrs. Borthwick, English, and Mr. Link, Social Studies. Eighth grade Theta teachers are Mrs. Colley, Math, Miss Davitt, Math, Mrs. Nemitz, Science, Miss Walsh, Reading, Miss Tunney, English, and Mrs. Bezier, Social Studies. Also located near Theta House is our 2 guidance counselors, Mr. Martin is our 6th grade guidance counselor and counselor to 7th grade students whose last names begin with M through Z. Mrs. Barnansky is our 8th grade counselor and the counselor for 7th grade students whose last names begin with A through M. Our third house is Phi. Phi has a 6th grade team and an 8th grade team. 6th grade teachers include Mrs. Rubel, Math, Miss Machowski, Science, Mrs. Hanley, Reading, Mr. Field, English, and Mr. Evans, Social Studies and Math. Eighth grade Phi teachers include Mrs. Dewar, Math, Mrs. Fortner, Science, Mrs. Donnellan, Reading, Mrs. McDonald, English, and Mrs. Mangan, Social Studies. The balcony section of West Intermediate houses our family and consumer science teacher, Mr. Petritis, our art teacher, Mrs. Trenton, and our tech ed teacher, Mr. Amico. It also houses our 2 ELD teachers, Ms. Corby and Mr. Sasora. The West Intermediate Related Arts staff consists of 6 teachers. As stated before, Mr. Petritis teaches Family and Consumer Science, Mrs. Trenton teaches Art, and Mr. Amico teaches Tech Ed. Additionally, Ms. Scahidi is our Spanish teacher, Mr. Chulo is our Physical Education teacher, and Mr. Shipash is our Music teacher. We also have an amazing group of special education teachers at West Scranton Intermediate. Mrs. Baumgartner, Mr. Gahuli, Miss Herman, Mrs. Collada, Mr. Malin, Mrs. Marzani, Mrs. McKenna, Mrs. Sacco, and Mrs. Wang. The special education teachers can be found in different locations throughout the building.
We also have an excellent support staff at West Scranton Intermediate. We have a group of amazing paraprofessionals. We have 2 outstanding hall monitors, 2 great gym assistants, and our maintenance staff is fantastic.
West Intermediate operates on a 6-day rotating schedule. You will have 1 related arts class each day. Live and/or recorded lessons will be scheduled throughout each 6-day cycle. This schedule will be shared with you by your teachers and it will be posted on our website. Our teachers will be following the scope and sequence of the Apex virtual learning platform and will be utilizing Google Classroom to provide live and recorded lessons. All students will be required to access their Google homerooms for attendance, participation in all live and/or recorded lessons, and complete all assignments. Students will be graded accordingly in each class. Students will receive number grades as they would during a normal school year. Students will have the freedom to participate and complete assignments at various times throughout the day, but all work must be completed by the end of the day to count. It is important to understand that our virtual learning model is very different from what was presented in the spring. All students will be held accountable and must attend school or they will not pass. Also on our website is a direct link to our district learning portal. This portal has a ton of information for parents and students. It has contact information, Google Classroom codes, and many resources for parents, students, and teachers. Everyone is encouraged to visit this portal. Directions on how to access Google Classroom are explained on this portal in detail. The West Scranton Intermediate website will also be your direct link to everything that is going on at the school. We also use Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to share information with our school community. Please note how you can follow us on our social media platforms.
We are both excited and nervous about this upcoming school year, as I'm sure you all are.
If you are new to West Scranton Intermediate, I know you're going to love it. West is definitely best. Mrs. Rucker is now going to explain some of our student expectations for virtual learning.
Even though we are learning virtually this year, our expectations will not be any different. Here is a list of our expectations for you.
You will be required to log into your Google Homeroom every day for attendance. If you do not check into your homeroom daily and participate in your classes, you will be considered truant. Truancy will be handled just like if you would be if you were coming to the building. You will respect yourself and others when online. Online names must be appropriate. Inappropriate comments and/or images will not be tolerated. Bullying is also not acceptable, and you will be referred to me. You will abide by copyright laws and use only suitable educational materials that are provided by your teachers at all times. You will protect yourself and others when online. Please share information that pertains to your classes only. Do not share your passwords and accounts with other students. Everything you do is managed under the Scranton School District, and you will be held responsible for all the terms and conditions outlined in the Scranton School District Handbook. Lastly, if you borrowed a Chromebook from the school, please know that you are responsible for its care, maintenance, and security as long as it is in your possession.
It is important to understand that even though we are learning virtually, you are still a student of the Scranton School District. Abuse of any of the policies and procedures in the Intermediate Handbook will not be tolerated and will be handled accordingly by the administration.
We hope you enjoyed our virtual tour of West Scranton Intermediate School. Mrs. Rucker and I are extremely excited to start a different yet amazing school year. Please, we ask you, if you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to email either myself or Mrs. Rucker. You may also call the school at any time and someone is more than happy to help you.
We will continue to work together to ensure that our students receive the education they truly deserve. Thank you for watching, and West is best.